You a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the latest episode of House of the Dragon, from Dragonstone to Dorne and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, in between those two would be the Stepstones, and it seems like we're talking about them again on the House of the Dragon episode 6, Instant Reactions. So, welcome to any viewers. And
we literally just finished watching it just moments ago.
It doesn't get much more instant than this.
Exactly. Haven't said one word to each other about it. But here we go. The big change for this episode was the new actors.
Yeah,
which there were three new ones
4
that I can think of. 4.
Laenor and Laena and the two main. So both Valyrian children and
yes, that's right.
Yep.
Okay, I forgot about the other Valyrian child. Yes. Okay.
Who is now shacking up with Daemon.
Daemon. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So I thought I thought it worked pretty well.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it was. They weren't like trying to push it too hard. It was just like you are to understand that this is who these characters are, even though they don't look the same.
Right. And, similar enough, but not the same. And it was like, you could tell who was who. There was no question. Yep. So I think if you're going to jump 10 years into the future, which we found out via random, overtly, it was a
been 10
right.
years, I think.
It's like punch you in the face of like,
really
oh, okay, that's how long it was. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, they did it about as well as you could.
They definitely did do what I expected, which is say the names of those characters, at least the two, Rhaenyra and Alicent, multiple times.
Yeah. Yep. And from multiple characters too, so it wasn't like overly obvious, but at the same time, it was like, all right, they're banging things home here. You need to pay attention to these two.
But it was a little weird that like Sir Christian looked just exactly the same.
Oh
like, they didn't.
He got a haircut.
They didn't put any like gray in his temples or anything. Like I don't know. It just seemed like okay.
Same thing with Daemon.
Has not aged in 10 years. Yeah, Daemon actually. You know what? I felt like Matt Smith was moving like he was 10 years older. I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like something about the way he was like sitting in a couple scenes or like would like just carrying himself. For some reason, I was like, I feel like he's acting like he's 10 years older, and maybe I'm making that up, or maybe it was some.
No, the carrying himself, I definitely.
Nuance? I don't know.
I think he definitely did in this, especially when they're talking to Pentosi and that they're, he's like willing to take the easy out and settle down, and like a lot of very non-Daemon thing or non-pre like old Daemon things of let's just find some place to go and not worry about anything back home and the kingly responsibilities and whatever.
Right. Let's not root ourselves anywhere so we can keep moving and avoid the politics of Westeros that that he's seemingly tried to leave behind. But I can't imagine that's going to be the case for much longer.
Yeah, I'm sure ultimately he will end up, you don't cast Matt Smith and have him be that to the forefront without either some spectacular death coming or him coming back to Westeros.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, skipping to the end as far as his plot line goes, at the end he's left with 2 daughters that he doesn't really seem to care that much about.
No, one of them flat out said that father ignores me.
Exactly. Right, and that's why I think that. And by the way, his wife's death was super horrible, but also very badass. Way to go out.
I mean, death by auto-immolation?
Via dragon.
Right, the minor detail in there.
Yeah. And I feel like they really made it where the dragon like didn't want to do it.
Oh yeah,
like,
100%.
No, I don't want to burn you up. You're my rider,
Yep. But earlier in the episode, there was the call that the dragon will do whatever the rider that it binds with says.
Yeah, will only obey you. Yeah. Yep.
Also of note, the daughter, I don't remember their names, but the daughter who said that Damon didn't care about her was also the one that didn't bind with an egg.
Oh.
Was the non-rider of the two.
Oh yeah. Okay. Who said that she was trying to hatch the egg still, and then the mother said you have to claim your right as a dragon rider. So there's now one open dragon available. So interesting.
And he's the biggest one around.
Yeah. I think it is an interesting spot to leave the character of Damon suddenly shouldered with the responsibility of these two girls, and something tells me he's not going to just become a good father, but
this doesn't turn into Growing Pains and Matt Smith becomes Tony Danza.
I mean, doubtful.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting place to leave his character, and I'm interested to see what he chooses to do. Now, have you read the books that cover this plot line of this time frame?
Yes and no. No, I don't. Like, I got them to a I listened to, I have the audiobook, and I listened to it to a point of where we're like very little.
Okay.
So hence the good, like, I'm good with some names, but beyond that I'm not much help.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to look up when they were saying the names of those kids. I was like trying to like Google. There's so many Targaryens, it's insane in like the books or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a whole mess of them, and I was trying to connect the kids to Daenerys or whoever we're gonna, somebody that I recognized, and it was just taking a really long time.
Right, you're going through level upon level.
Yeah,
upon
I was
level
like
of
just going through like from this Wikipedia page to the next one. Nope, don't know that person.
Oh, down the Wikipedia rabbit hole.
I was like, okay, I was just like, I mean, I know it's 120 years, but like, this is taking too long. No.
Yep.
So okay, so my assumption that this is no, because I think the time gap is too large here. But one of the king's sons is Aemon Targaryen. That's not the same one that's the old blind maester at the wall in Game of Thrones, is it?
No, I don't believe.
Okay, I didn't.
No, because there's, if I remember right, because that was Egg's brother, the other Aegon Targaryen. So a successful. Farther down the line, I think there's another set of brothers that are Aemon and Aegon.
Okay, not the Aegon and Aemon that we see here. Okay.
Yep.
All right, that makes more sense. Just because they said the thing about him having a bad eye or something.
Oh, and this is apparently Aemond, not Aemon.
Oh, okay. So
apparently you add a D and it changes everything.
Okay, so the one from Game of Thrones is Aemon, not with a D on it. Okay,
yep.
I didn't realize they were saying Aemond in this episode. I guess maybe whatever.
I only did because of the subtitles.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I've learned to now watch every fantasy show with subtitles on.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just you pick up on a lot of other extra things that you probably would miss here.
Oh. Okay.
So it's become a random thing that I started to do. And also my son keeps turning them on like randomly on HBO and whatever. So
that's like a thing with Gen Zers, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's because they're used to reading subtitles on like social media videos and stuff that automatically have them. Like they watch everything. Like, I work with people that are like 15 years younger than me, and they watch literally everything, movies, television. They always turn the closed captions on. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's only stuff like this where I know there's no chance in hell I'm pronouncing half the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did they say?
Anyway,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, they mentioned that kid's eye was bad or something, and I was like, oh, well, does he become blind? And it's the same guy, but if it's not the right name, then it's
I found a Targaryen family tree, and you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations removed from that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was right around finding the 5th page when I was like, I'm giving up. Okay, I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, so it's 5.
And who knows? I don't know what
6,
branch
7.
of that tree I was on either. That's the thing. I could have been going in the wrong direction. I don't know.
So you're 8 generations from the current king and Targaryen family that we're seeing to Daenerys and Rhaegar.
Right.
And
also,
I
there's
guess Viserys, but
there's a wiki page for the books and there's a wiki page for the show. And the
Yep.
show doesn't give you any information that isn't already in the show. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, well, this is not helpful. But then also I didn't want to get into like spoiler territory, so that's why I ended up backing off. But okay. anyway, long story short. So, what did you think of this episode? Like, I felt like it was another. It felt like another setup episode, but then I'm kind of like, well, what's the difference really between a setup episode and just a regular episode? Like, not
Right.
something doesn't have to blow up in every episode for it to be good.
No,
You know,
and
but
like you said, I think you said it last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the last time we talked about House of the Dragon was. It
last week.
It has that feel of old Thrones, where even, there doesn't need to be a cataclysmic battle, but a lot of things happened.
Right.
And a lot of things moved the plot along in ways that like connected pieces and, shuffled. The chessboard got very shuffled this week.
Yeah. And it was also it was kind of a setup because it was like a reset. They had to reset everything. They had to reset 4 actors and 10 years in the future. And like I say, I was very shocked when the king walked out of that doorway and was alive. I was positive that he was dead at the end of that last episode.
They leave us the last episode with him lying.
But then I'm like, okay, they're calling her princess still. They're saying the queen. I was like, why did she give up the throne? Like, what? Why is she still a prince? I was like, oh, of course, that's the most obvious reason why she'd still be a princess, because her dad is still alive and just old as shit, but still kicking, I guess. So, so I get that it had to be a little bit more of a setup episode, or that because it was a reset. They're resetting a lot of pieces of the chessboard here. So,
right,
and a lot of them in interesting ways, I think. I don't know. Do you have any big like takeaways from like Rhaenyra or Alicent? And that seems to be like the 2 driving narratives.
Yeah, they're definitely throwing that right down the pipe of like, hey, here, pay attention to these 2. And Alicent, the fact that Alicent seems to be losing it a little more than she was. Like, we go 10 years prior, she's the calm, cool, collected, playing the game. And now she seems to be on the fence of like, not sanity, but like at her wit's end almost.
Yeah, I think so. She's really like grabbing her kid's face and being like, she could kill you if she becomes queen. Like, she's yelling that at her son. That is like pretty rough behavior. But also, like, she spent 10 years living kind of like with that shadow over her head of like, this old dude that I'm married to could die at any second, and then Rhaenyra could have my sons killed. Like, that could happen tomorrow. It could happen later today. So she's been playing the game as best she could for the last 10 years, but without a ton of pieces moving, really, for her. So she's great. She's got sons. Great. It doesn't matter if Rhaenyra is still the heir.
And I guess that was the thing, is that this has held up that long.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that the Harwin Strong thing is starting to come out into the public eye seems to be interesting. That Harwin Strong is the actual father.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes. Strong, yeah, okay, that's the last name. Yeah, that was like the big kind of reveal, I think, of this episode, and that was like the big...
And like very casually revealed at the beginning of the episode, where he's just in the room.
Yeah, I thought that was just going to be it, and we were just going to like know that, and then no, the whole episode was about that, pretty much, and seemingly came to a close with his death at the end of
definitely
this
came to a close.
Yeah,
so
that's another thing I was surprised that it was like a story element that was introduced, and then almost nearly wrapped up by the end of the episode. Like, I thought that's something that could go on for, the rest of the season or something, but not the case.
Right. And that's actually wrapping it up. The fire at Harrenhal, when we, in Game of Thrones, when we went to Harrenhal, that was where the Lannister forces were when Arya was being the page for
or
Tywin Lannister.
Yeah.
When everybody thought she was a boy and that whole thing.
Right.
That was at Harrenhal, and it was the burnt out shell and like it was the ruins of Harrenhal.
Wow.
And those ruins were from this fire.
Yeah.
So this was the fire that destroyed the seat of House Strong. That was apparently set
by a member of House Strong. What's his name? Larys or something?
Larys, yep.
Larys, yeah. So that guy is no good.
No.
He just had his brother and his dad murdered.
Well, casual, nothing like casual kinslaying in Westeros.
Yeah. certainly gained him some power over the queen, though. So like
Yeah.
he certainly upped his.
Here,
I don't
have your
know.
dad back. It's fine.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
open that slot up for you right now.
and
Well, and I guess
yeah,
you
it
get the
really.
brutality from him too, because he lets all those guys out of prison, but cuts their tongues off.
Oh yeah, that was gross.
Yeah. So
That was
it's not
gross.
like they're talking. And none of them of that ilk in that time period would be able to write to say, this is what we did.
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
So,
And I felt like I don't know. I felt like the whole episode they were portraying Alicent as this not a monster, but a um, pretty close to stop at nothing um, to get her way kind of thing. But clearly she wasn't quite there by her reaction at the end of this episode. Was very
right.
very upset that this had been done in her name, more or
Yeah,
less.
yeah, it seemed like one of those where she thought she was there or thought she wanted to be there and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
realized she didn't quite at
Yeah, it
this
was
point
too
have the
far.
stomach for it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, she's no what's her face from Game of Thrones.
Cersei.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
She would have done that in like the blink of an eye and not worried about it whatsoever.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
that would have been yeah. I don't know what else from this episode. I thought it was a good episode. It was a little, the reset thing. I understand that it had to happen. They sold it. It still is good, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't like this episode like lit my world on fire or anything.
No, I thought it was a strong episode, but yeah. I mean, the fact like I did like that there was the through line, like you said, of the one arc being introduced and closed in the same episode.
Yeah.
Like it kind of gave it a nice little self-contained feel while things kind of got woven in and out of that. And also the implications that that'll have later in the series, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I liked it. I feel like I don't. Did you see the preview for next week? At the
No,
end of this
no,
episode?
I didn't
Next
end up
week's
seeing it.
looks a little more intense.
Okay.
Yeah, little some tensions coming to a head.
Nice.
The old makeup on Viserys I thought looked really good. Like his
Oh yeah, they made him
thinning hair and age
yeah.
spots and teeth and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, no, he looks.
Yeah, he looks like
looks
he's
old.
ready to kill.
Yeah,
Which I'd assume is happening in the next 1 or 2 episodes.
I'd be shocked if he makes it to season 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shocked that he made it to episode 6.
I mean, I would think season 2 sets up like the Dance of the Dragons of like them going at it.
Yeah, you'd think.
But who knows?
Who knows? I don't know. I think that's all I got. I don't know if there's anything else really to touch on in this episode. We talked about the tongues, which was gross.
Yeah,
And,
we touched on the tongues.
touched
they're
on the
bad.
tongues.
They were bad things.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm sure there's something we're missing because there's always something we're missing when we do this like this quick.
But I don't know that we are though, because I mean, we didn't necessarily talk about Christian and what's his face fighting in the
right
sword.
But that also
there,
came
but,
to
like,
a hill, like a
yeah,
rap.
but it's part and it's part of that storyline that we
Yep.
touched on. So like I don't, it wasn't like an exciting episode. I guess that's what I'm saying. It was good, but it wasn't exciting. And
Yeah.
again, I know that they had to reset, they had to reintroduce new actors and figure out. We had to learn where they are 10 years later.
The marriage
hopefully
proposal.
moving. Yes, that was yeah.
Be curious
like
where that
that.
goes.
Yeah, it seems like it's not gonna. If Alicent has anything to do with it, it's not gonna move forward.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I just like is this Better Call Saul versus Game of Thrones to Game of Thrones' Breaking Bad, or is it not? I don't know. I guess I haven't rewatched Game of Thrones season 1 of Game of Thrones enough to be like, are the episodes paced similarly? Is there a lot of not a ton going on for a few episodes? Like it feels like there were more exciting episodes of Game of Thrones so far than there have been of House of the Dragon.
I mean,
And I don't know.
trying to think about the episodes of Game of Thrones, you had, of course, the first one that was the introduction, and then came to the high point of
pushing a
child out a window, which of course made you come back next week.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I mean, season 2 was them heading down the King's Road, and Jon going north to the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
Which didn't really do a whole, like, it was a very setup-y, and Daenerys introduced to Drogo.
Mm-hmm.
Third episode was still on the King's Road, getting to King's Landing.
Yeah.
You know, The Wolf and the Lion was episode 5. Sir Hugh of the Vale dies in the tourney.
Yeah. And this is 10 episodes, right? Season 1. There's Game of Thrones style 10 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of setup in the middle up until, episode 9, and where was it, episode 9 or 10 that Eddard dies? Was it right
9.
at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that was classic Game of Thrones style.
Oh, yeah,
The
Baelor.
second to last episode of the season was always something huge happening.
Yep.
So we'll see if they do that with House of the Dragon as well. We got 3 more episodes left. I don't know. Like I said, the preview for next week looked a little bit more exciting, and not that this episode was bad. It was just a little less exciting than you kind of want.
I really liked this episode. It was just, it was, like you said, paced as this is moving the plot along.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, I think the fact that it was 2 episodes in a row of moving chess pieces.
Right.
Versus, let's have I don't know, a war or something. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. It's hard to really describe. I can't. Here's the thing. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm saying I would rather have, because what we're getting is good. But I am left with a okay, another one of the episodes, great, fine, it's okay. So we'll see what next week brings, I guess.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. But thanks for watching our instant reaction to House of the Dragon episode 6. We may or may not do one next week. Who knows? We're going week by week on this to see what we feel like doing. But if you're watching us live, stick around, because we're about to do a discussion on the first 3 episodes of Andor. Dropped on Disney Plus this past week, Star Wars Andor. So stick around for that. Plus, we're going to do our weekly news recap also tonight as well. So if you're listening to this in your feed, you've got 2 more episodes from us coming out same time. Listen to those as well. And follow us on all the things, and I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, if you're just chiming in, tuning in for the House of the Dragon stuff, feel free to check us out, themultiverseport.com, at Multiverse Report on a lot of the socials. We're on YouTube. We're on your podcatcher of choice. And we normally do our weekly Nerd News podcast, as well as some of these recaps here and there of shows, depending on what's striking us that week and what you guys want to hear. So,
yeah. So until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.
Okay.